Many economists believe that since resources are scarce and since human desires cannot all be blank, a method of blank is needed. So let's see. So let's look at the first choice. Many economists believe that since resources are scarce, so there's only so many resources, we don't have an infinite amount of resources, and since human desires cannot all be indulged, a method of apportionment is needed. That actually feels pretty good. To indulge means to kind of allow yourself or allow someone else to have the pleasure, any pleasure that they want. And so you can't indulge all human desires. That means allowing everyone to do anything they want, use as many resources as they want. We cannot do that because we have scarce resources. So indulge is feeling pretty good. A method of apportionment is needed. Well, that also makes sense. You can't indulge everybody. You only have so many resources. So we need some way to split those resources, to apportion those resources amongst people. And so this one actually feels, this is feeling pretty good. But let's just verify that I just used this word, that these other choices right over here aren't as good. So since many economists believe that since resources are scarce and since human desires cannot all be verified. So verified means, validating, proving that someone has some desire. So that's already feeling weird. A method of distribution is needed. So distribution isn't bad for the second one, but verifying human desires, this one feels a little bit off. And remember, we always want to pick the best choice. And so A is definitely a much better choice. We're not talking about verifying, making sure that we know the actual human desires and then distributing based on it. So this seems I would rule this one right over here. This one right over here seems a little off. Since human desires cannot all be usurped, that means you're kind of ignoring them and removing them and putting in place different desires somehow. A method of expropriation, so that's kind of, taking from someone. A method of kind of expropriation is needed. So once again, we're not talking about trying to usurp folks' desires, nor kind of a method of taking things from folks. So once again, this one feels very strange. And since human desires cannot all be expressed, a method of reparation is needed. So it is true, not all human desires can be expressed, but that doesn't seem to be a counterbalance to the whole notion of resources being scarce. So this one already feels weird. And a method of reparation. Reparations are essentially a payment to someone because of injustices that you've done to them. And so we're not really talking about justice and injustice right over here. So once again, this also feels weird and nowhere near as good as choice A. Since human desires cannot all be anticipated, that's true, a method of advertising. So advertising, once again, we're not talking about how do we communicate with people what they may or may not want, or how do we convince people what they may or may not want. We're going against the idea of, hey, we only have so many resources and we can't give everything to everyone. So we need some way of divvying up those scarce resources. So once again, the advertising really seems a little bit off.